Right, so first video on the second channel in the new studio. I've still got a lot of tweaking about to do. I need to get the lighting right. I need to get the audio right. I've got a lot of stuff still to do, but for now this will do because one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was people might know that a long time ago I was charged over a certain spicy video involving a pug. That makes it sound like some bestiality shit. But anyway, basically, the act that I was charged under was Section 127 of the Communications Act. And the Law Society seemed to want to scrap that entire statute, which would be fantastic. But I'm going to go into this article just now because it talks about some other instances where this law was grossly misused. We must be free to be grossly offensive, absolutely. The case of the Grenfell Tower effigy shows our laws on online speech are wildly authoritarian because, yes, they in fact are. For those of you that don't know, the Grenfell Tower, everyone remembers Grenfell Tower, it was the tower block in London that went up in a giant inferno and a lot of people died, and it was a horrible and tragic thing. And a bunch of people built an effigy to the tower in their back garden, and they put little cardboard people in it and made them scream and coloured them in brown and black and stuff like that, and then set the effigy on fire. Now, that is a spicy meatball, and back when it happened, I made a video on here again. I was defending them and saying that that is their right to do that if they want. It's quite shite, but nevertheless, it is their right to do that. The Law Commission produced a new report last month, and it was surprisingly pro free speech. I love how like when the Law Commission wants to, uphold human rights, it's a surprise. That's a sign of how bad things are. It rightly recommended getting rid of the catch-all offence of posting grossly offensive content on the internet, which is a crime under Section 127 of the Communications Act. It's the crime that Count Dankula was fined for after releasing his infamous Nazi pug video, and it's a law that has been deployed all too often against social media users who speak out of turn or say things that particular interest groups would rather have suppressed. And this law is, I mean, the police love a good grey area law where they could just arrest you for any old stuff, but the people that abuse this law the most are interest groups who don't like you making fun of them or speaking out against their message. I mean, it must be extremely handy having an idea or an ideology that you believe in where any criticism or mockery of it at all, well, you can phone the police and get that person shut up. Right, it's a handy thing, but it has suppressed an awful lot of views, and there has been so many misfiles of this act. For example, me, I was prosecuted for making a clear joke. The Scottish Government criminalised jokes. Another incident was Chelsea Russell. She was charged under the same law because she posted rap lyrics to her Instagram, and these were lyrics in remembrance of a young boy who tragically was hit by a car and died in the housing estate that she lived in. And she was arrested for posting the rap lyrics on her Instagram because they contained the N word. I know it's an absolutely, what is the world coming to when a rap song contains the N word? Shocking. In its place, the Commission wants there to be a much narrower offence of sending messages intending to cause serious distress to those likely to see them, which means that the police would have to prove intent. Now, under Section 127, it says they have to prove intent, but during my trial, intent was never proven whatsoever. In fact, it was completely disregarded. So the intent part getting added in there, I understand that people want that as a safety net where, well, you have to prove that my client intended to cause serious distress and fear and alarm and, offence and all those other types of things. But the court can just, the prosecution essentially in my case went, he intended to cause XYZ. No, I have no evidence of this whatsoever. I'm just thinking of the thoughts that probably were in his head and I've no way to prove them. And the judge just kind of went, I agree. That was, yeah, the law process is absolutely broken. So the intent part, whereas it would be nice, it's not foolproof and the law can still be abused. Depressingly, however, the Crown Prosecution Service seems determined to carry on chasing people over offensive online posts. Well, they're the prosecution. That's why they just love prosecuting people. A bonfire party in a South London back garden in 2018 is a case in point. Some of the revellers set up a cardboard model of a block of flats and labelled it as Grenfell Tower. They put dark-faced cardboard figures in the windows and set the model on fire. The whole gruesome scene was filmed on a number of mobile phones, including that of the host, Paul Bussetti. A video of it was distributed to members of a few WhatsApp groups. Someone somewhere passed it on, it went viral, and the police promised to take action. Bussetti was subsequently prosecuted under Section 127, but acquitted because it wasn't clear whether it was his video or someone else's that had gone viral. Now, another important distinction to make in regards to this, making a video like that or featuring in a video like that in itself is not a crime. It's the posting it online that makes it a crime. So say for example, if I made the Nazi Pug video and I just kept it on my hard drive and didn't post it anywhere, not illegal, not an offence. But by posting it online, that is you committing the offence. That's where the crime comes from. And what happened was this was shared privately among friends, and then one of the friends then posted the video online. So if anything, I don't agree with Section 127, obviously, but under Section 127, it's the friend that posted the video publicly that actually committed the offence. That's the way Section 127 works. You can make one of the most horribly offensive videos ever and just keep it on your hard drive, and then a random other person posts it online, it'll be that person that gets charged with the crime. It's a weird law. This clearly wasn't good enough for the CPS. Last week it successfully appealed the acquittal. A High Court judge found that the acquittal was wrong because even if Bussetti's video was actually different from the one that went viral, it was very similar to it. It doesn't matter under Section 127, he has to actually post the video in a public internet forum. It wasn't, it was shared privately among friends on WhatsApp. The court didn't actually call for a conviction, but instead remitted the case to another judge. It seemed sceptical about whether Bussetti had any defence. He does have a defence. It's called the human right to freedom of speech. If convicted, he faces potential 6 months in prison. Now, obviously, what Bussetti did was quite shite. Like, that was... There are jokes where, I don't know, there are jokes where, like, offence is part of the humour in it. Sometimes how much the joke annoys people is part of the punchline. That's what makes it funnier. But, like, I'll admit, I've made Holocaust jokes, but that was a very, very long time ago. Like, these guys did this, like, a month after it happened or something. Don't think it was a month, but, too soon. It was too soon. And, yeah, it was a bit... I mean, it was really spicy, but it was also, like, really mean-spirited at the same time. Few would feel to be shocked and offended by the video of Grenfell effigy, but that's not the point. The party where it was filmed was an entirely private event in a suburban garden. The videos of what happened were distributed on WhatsApp groups, presumably consisting of similarly boneheaded individuals. The reason it got out was because one of these people very stupidly publicised it. The state has no business in prosecuting those who make jokes in vile taste to their pals at private parties, nor those expressing their views to a closed group of friends. If the Law Commission has its way, the state won't be able to unless the accused intend to cause distress to anyone likely to see what they post. Bussetti, it seems, did not, because the video was shared privately. They only wanted it to go among friends. He didn't want it to be out there, at least. If he's smart when he walks into the courtroom, that's what he'll say. We will have to see what the eventual result is. It would be nice, however, if the judge asked some awkward questions. Perhaps he or she might start by asking why the prosecution was brought at all, considering that it relates to a private communication between friends and was never intended to pass beyond a limited circle, or why the CPS went to the expense of appealing the original acquittal. It's because any spicy jokes in comedy, the Crown Prosecution Service are coming right down on it. They want to send a message to everyone that you cannot tell offensive jokes anymore. That is the message that they want to get across. I mean, the Crown Prosecution Service bent over backwards to keep my conviction in place. Like, the whole court system, High Court, Supreme Court, they bent over backwards to make sure that my conviction stayed in place, and they also refused me every opportunity to make my arguments against them. And the reason they did that is because they knew I would win. They know that they are in the wrong. They know that they are, like, it's indefensible. The Supreme Court dismissed my case as it was, I forget the word they used, incompetent. They said my case was incompetent. What was incompetent about it? They won't say. They won't say what was incompetent about it. I think they're just saying that because they knew I would win. Shite bags. CPS are clamping down hard on jokes. They don't want you making offensive jokes. They don't want you making spicy memes, spicy content. They want to restrict freedom of expression because these people have probably bought into all the nonsense that you tell a couple of, rape jokes or something on stage, and 5 guys in the audience are going to go, oh, I like rape now, and then do a few girls on their way home from the comedy club, because apparently that's how jokes work, Apparently that's how comedy works now, at least in the minds of these idiots who are apparently supposed to be like legal intellectuals. With the aim of containing a conviction for someone uploading a video that the CPS knew it couldn't prove had ever been publicised at all, or why the CPS seems so determined to continue enforcing a law that even the Law Commission, which is hardly a liberal defender of free speech, thinks goes too far. Yeah, the Law Commission is not a defender of free speech. Not at all. No doubt the judge will retreat into platitudes, saying that there was no excuse for making the video and that an example needs to be made of Bussetti. What for? Enacting his human right. So I need to make an example. I want to send a message to people. I will use your life as my toy, my tool for doing that, because that's just a thing that judges are allowed to do. But it's like, I want to send a message, so fuck your life. My message is more important than what happens to your life. Even though you completely acted within your human right of freedom of speech. Fuck your rights, fuck your life. I want to get the people to know something. Isn't it amazing that judges are just allowed to do that? They're just allowed to do that. That's something that's always blew my mind. The idea that people should have the freedom to say things to their friends that they wouldn't say in public clearly offends the Metropolitan Magistrates. I feel that Bussetti may end up being their sacrificial victim. Yes, they will. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you win the argument, and loads of people go, his arguments absolutely failed, like, in court. No, they didn't. Me and my defense lawyer won every single argument in there. Like, I literally made when it was my turn on the stand, I literally made the prosecutor rage quit. I made him rage quit. I had him frothing at me like people in my mentions on Twitter. He was so annoyed that I bested him. Some wee working class boy for Coatbridge fucking dancing circles around the prosecutor. He was so angry. He had to take a few minutes to calm down. Andrew Tettenborn is a professor of commercial law and a former Cambridge admissions officer. And that's the end of the article. But yeah, basically, if the Law Commission do that, that would be an amazing thing. However, adding that intent has to be really properly proved, it isn't going to fully solve the problem, because that allows the courts to just invent the intent that you had in your head, and judges will tend to side with the prosecution on that. Because, I mean, how do you prove what someone was thinking, right? They used to do that a lot in Stalin's trials. I'm just saying, the state would invent thoughts and feelings that you had in your head and then convict you based on their fairy tale that they dreamed up that they had no way of proving. That's what happened to me. I think that this is what he was thinking when he did it, which means he committed a crime. The judge, I agree. Boom, there you go. That was me. £800 fine. So, it's a step in the right direction, but it isn't. It's not something that's going to magically solve the problem. But, I mean, it's better than nothing. We're getting there.